on the work that youth are doing. You and I were both in attendance during the CARICOM Youth Forum, where the importance of mental health was highlighted. How do you see, what is the way forward for the CARICOM in promoting mental well-being?
Well, in the CARICOM Youth Forum, young persons would have voiced their concerns about mental health. Of course, they are concerned that there is still a negative stigma attached to mental health across persons throughout the region. And so one of the main recommendations that we would have asked the heads of government to consider would have been to engage in public education campaigns to assist in removing that negative stigma. We think that that is extremely important because you have many young persons who are suffering with mental health issues, but they might be ashamed to go and actually get help for the issues that they actually experience. And so assisting in ensuring that they are able to get that help that they need, because that stigma is now removed, we think that that will greatly assist young persons who may be suffering. Of course, we also think it necessary for persons who work with young persons in different institutions like schools, the healthcare system, etc., to be trained to deal with young persons who have these mental health issues. And we think that those are great starting points, to help with youth mental health issues and ensure that our young persons are productive and that they are able to contribute positively to society.
Thank you, Ms. Atwell. I think that we should train those first responders. The people that are in contact with youth so frequently need to be the first to be able to recognize when anything changes and anything's up. Would you mind illustrating what other issues Caribbean youth are facing at the moment?
Well, most definitely unemployment. I mean, the COVID-19 pandemic alone has really dealt a great blow on the region and the world. But more particularly, young persons were often the first to go in organizations and companies where they had to let go of staff. Young persons are often seen as lacking experience.
And expendable.
Very. And so, of course, a lot of young persons have been complaining about unemployment. And the thing about the unemployment issue is that even where entrepreneurship is concerned, they are complaining that there are limited opportunities for them to get funding, to seek out and to pursue their creative paths. And so it really puts them in a difficult situation to achieve economic empowerment, where they are stifled on one side by unemployment, but also they're not able to really tap into that entrepreneurial side. So we have unemployment. We also, of course, have issues with peace and security. Young persons are both perpetrators and victims of criminal activity. And so, of course, we know that member states, of course, have an obligation to ensure that they deal with that crime and criminal activity issue. Because a lot of our young persons in member states, I know particularly in Trinidad and Tobago, also in countries like Jamaica, you have a large amount of young persons involved in crime and gang violence. And so those are some of the issues that confront young persons, and I think that member states should definitely pay particular attention to them.
I think that the current Secretary General of the CARICOM has underlined the importance of economic integration. And along with that, a big part of innovation will be necessary. What is the role of youth that you envision in innovating our systems and our society?
Well, young people, by our nature, we are creative and we are innovative. We always bring a fresh perspective to what is already existing. And so I think in any efforts to modernize or to innovate, to pursue and to achieve any level of innovation in a society, it's very important for governments to include young persons in the process. Whether that means having consultations, focus groups, where commissions are set up or planning committees that young persons are involved, because they would be able to bring that fresh perspective and that fresh way of doing things to be able to move things to another level. So I think ensuring that young persons are involved not only in the planning phase, but the implementation as well as the monitoring and evaluation, that will assist in ensuring that youth are involved and they can contribute to increase innovation in their member states.
Focusing on the CARICOM guidelines and the mandates, and focusing on the implementation thereof, one of the sentiments that is conveyed in the CARICOM is that we would... Oh, shit, sorry. I think that's it's my fault. Sorry, heel even.
Stop there. We will start over.
Yeah. Even. Wait. Those are the reminders that we have a meeting soon.
Yeah.
Okay. Dus wij moeten ook afronden, want wij hebben... Oké, prima.
Start over with your question and then you can finish off.
Ja, mag ik dan heel even spieken? Wait. Yeah, okay, I think I have 2 questions and yeah, we'll do that. Okay.
And 3, 2.
Focusing on the CARICOM mandates and the implementation thereof, one of the sentiments that's conveyed in the CARICOM is that we would have to give up a piece of our individual identity to come together as one community. What are your thoughts about this?
Well, as an integrationist, I am all for achieving a deeper level of integration. And you do tend to find a lot of young persons advocating for a greater level of integration because we can see the benefits that might accrue if we are able to work together a bit more and achieve a certain level of deeper integration. However, of course, as you know, member states are in many instances unwilling to let go of that level of individual sovereignty to achieve a common purpose. But I think it's very important, especially for young persons who are entering into politics, that you have young persons who are very much integration forward. Young persons who can see the benefits, or persons in general who can see the benefits that might accrue if we are able to achieve a deeper level of integration. Because of course, at this stage where we are, while we do work together, while we have CARICOM and while we come together and we discuss these pertinent issues, you still have sometimes persons going back to their individual member states and not carrying out what has been agreed upon. So I think that definitely a deeper level of integration is necessary. Of course, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a number and a number and a number of years. However, I think we are in the right direction and where we are able to fill the gap. I know SG would have said that one of the main things that the Secretariat is looking at is trying to just make sure that we are able to implement. Because we come to heads of government, we come to different sessions and we discuss and we talk. But sometimes nothing is actually being implemented at the member state level.
There's no action.
Correct. So definitely I think that a deeper level of integration is necessary, but it will definitely take some time.
It will take some time, and CARICOM is turning 50 next year. Are there any visions you have for the next 10 years for youth?
Most definitely, I would like to see more meaningful engagement of young persons. I mean, my presence being here at the heads of government, I think it is a great starting point. We have a long way to go. Since the declaration of Paramaribo on the future of youth in the Caribbean community, we still have lots of gaps in terms of implementing what has been agreed upon previously by member states. I mean, at the heads of government, there should be much more young persons than just myself here, and we can actually sit in the plenaries. It's not necessary that we need to, have a say on each and everything, but sit down, see what it's like, experience, whether you're attending with a delegation, you have a say, you're able to contribute to the decision-making process. Because when you have young persons, obviously those who are in power and those who are the heads of government, they will not be the heads of government forever. Some persons have to come after them. But if opportunities are not provided for young people to be able to see what the process is like, then you're going to have new leaders coming into place and they're not going to know what to do. So I definitely would like to see more meaningful youth engagement. I would like to see more opportunities created for young persons to participate in negotiations at the highest level. No more tokenism. Young persons are at the place where we are saying, we no longer want to be used to just be decoration or just to sit and
no
to
more
do
youth
nothing.
washing.
Exactly. We want to be provided with opportunities to meaningfully contribute. When we make suggestions, we want our suggestions to be taken into account. So I would definitely like to see more investment in youth, financial and otherwise, more meaningful youth engagements, and of course, more engagement with young persons at the regional level, such as in events such as the Heads of Government Conference.
Focusing on all of the points you've just made, do you think that CARICOM Youth Ambassadors should have a more prominent role in society? And how could we realize this?
Most definitely. Of course, the CARICOM Youth Ambassador program is CARICOM's mechanism to have young persons more involved or included in the regional integration movement. However, sometimes there may be a little bit of a disconnect in terms of ensuring that CARICOM Youth Ambassadors are provided with all that they need to be able to get their job done. And so, of course, over time, we have, of course, been advocating for greater support mechanisms and a revision of the program of the CARICOM Youth Development Action Plan. All of these mechanisms assist in ensuring that the CARICOM Youth Ambassador program is successful. So, of course, the CARICOM Youth Ambassador program would definitely need to be revised to meet the needs of young persons in this century. And of course, we look forward to the support from the Secretariat in that regard.
Ms. Atwell, before we end this session, I would like to convey what many of the youth I've spoken with over the last few weeks have said. They believe that they don't have a role anymore, that governments don't listen to them, that they don't have a way of speaking up. What is your message to those youth?
My message to those young persons would be to find a space. If a seat is not put for you at the table, you have to create that seat and you have to make space for yourself. You know, sometimes we cannot just sit and depend on, but let's say, for example, a government to do everything for us. As young persons, we are innovative, we are creative, and we can tap into various resources, whether it be the private sector, civil society, international organizations, and we utilize those avenues to create space for ourselves, and then hopefully we are able to accomplish a significant amount of goals through that, and able to mobilize and empower other young persons in the process.
If the seed doesn't exist, we make it.
We have to create that seed for ourselves.
Thank you, Ms. Atwell. It was a pleasure and an honor to speak with you. And I look forward to debating and discussing youth-related items with you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Ms. Atwell. This was another episode of Caribbean Connect. We'd love to see you in the next episode. My name is Matai Zamuel. Have a nice the rest of your day.
Network, your business channel.